This is a pretty significant story. Anyone who flies with Qantas is a bit nervous, and the identity of the attacker is not yet known, but it is believed to be this so-called scattered spider ransomware group. What have they been responsible for?
They're prolific, actually, PK. They've been active for about 3 years now. Since May 2022, they've been tracked. They've kind of moved systematically through a whole range of sectors. Airlines are just their latest target. They started out, I think their biggest first exploits were against casinos, so Caesars Entertainment, MGM. They've moved on to financial services companies. More recently, people might have heard about the hacks on Marks and Spencer in the UK, so retailers there. So yeah, they really are moving through at a pace, and we knew that they were coming to airlines because, well, they've done this. They've hit 2 US airlines recently, and the FBI even issued a warning. They tweeted, if we're still calling it tweets, anyway.
They X'd.
Yeah, whatever they did anyway. The FBI issued a warning on the 28th of June saying, hey, they're coming after airlines, and even spelled out the playbook that they're using to get inside businesses, to get access to customers' data, as it seems like they may have done in the case of Qantas here. And, what we know about that breach so far, that the Qantas breach, it follows that playbook to a T.
Yeah, James, I spoke to the minister earlier, asked him if if a ransom should be paid, rather. He said that's not what the government advises to companies. I also talked to him about a third-party platform was involved here, and he said he advises that they don't use third parties, but they do, right? Like, that's not going to change, and clearly their cybersecurity isn't up to the same scratch, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the complexity of sort of the modern cybersecurity environment, and something that cybersecurity experts and governments and companies are sort of wrestling with. The reason that Scattered Spider has targeted airlines is that they are incredibly data rich. Obviously, airlines collect a huge amount of data about customers, from their simple stuff like their names and their birth dates and their emails, through to things like passport numbers, credit card numbers, etc. But also, airlines are quite vulnerable in the sense that they tend to be pretty complex operating environments. They use a lot of third-party, not just software, but external contractors. It's slightly naive to say that you're going to be able to stop airlines from doing that. They outsource all sorts of different things, from baggage handling to their data management through to customer service. And this is how these hacker groups essentially tackle these businesses. A lot of people think that, with hackers, it's about sitting in front of a computer screen with glowing green text scrolling like in the Matrix, and you're hacking into software. It's usually social engineering. They will call a stressed and harried internal customer service representative, misrepresent who they are, and get access to a database. And when you're doing that, not just to Qantas staff, but to an external contractor who Qantas may not even know, or be totally across the fact of the amount of data that this external contractor has access to. You're dealing with an incredibly complex operating environment, and that's why we've seen these repeated hacks. Not just Qantas, but obviously we had Medibank, we had Optus. This is like an ongoing issue, and I think it's a little bit harder than just saying these businesses shouldn't use third-party services or contractors.
Yeah, clearly the government is working pretty closely with Qantas on this. That's certainly what Tony Burke said. Ange, we're in early days, it just was only announced today, but what's your assessment of the way that Qantas is handling this cyber attack and the way it's communicating about it?
Well, as embarrassing and difficult as it is for a company to come forward and take this kind of reputational hit, it's also the best thing they can do to protect their customers, because the customers who may have been exposed here, and we don't know the exact number, but 6 million is the possible ceiling, so it's a lot. Those people need to know to be on the lookout, because they are more likely to be targeted now if their data has been exfiltrated, stolen, and distributed more widely, they're more vulnerable to scams. Now, that's the bottom line, and they should know that. And it's right that Qantas has come forward and spoken about it. I think what's happening in the background, what's likely to happen in the background, what we know is that when this much data is stolen, the most efficient or the most money you can make out of it if you're a hacker group is to demand a ransom. Now, Qantas is saying as of this afternoon that they haven't had any contact from the threat actor so far demanding such a ransom, but it is likely based on how these things tend to play out, how we've seen them play out before, that a ransom could well be asked for, and then what happens next will happen behind closed doors.
Well, thank you to both of you. What a day for tech journalists like yourselves. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, PK.